just had a random ad pop up on my phone. I've got to learn how to turn that off. Anyway, ethics and kink. A lot of people would think that BDSM is like unethical. No, totally not. And so how does ethics work into kink life? Well, ethics, I looked up the definition the other day, are the guiding principles which sort of guide, a person's behaviour or conduct and the things that they do. It's like a measuring stick that you have. So a lot of people's ethics, I guess they say, would be spongy, which is basically, they say one thing but they do another. Their actions, intentions and their words don't match up. To be ethical is not easy. You have your principles which are formed by decisions and partly by your environment and what you read and what you decide are the things that you would do and how you would like to behave, and you follow those principles which you've decided on. Now, the thing is with ethics and ethical behaviour is that it's not always beneficial to you personally. If it always was, then you got to ask yourself, is it ethical behaviour to twist what your guiding principles are into whatever situation, or are you using those principles to think about how you would react to a situation in that way? So I guess it's the point of ethics, and I pointed out this to somebody, is that ethics are not always convenient. They're not always good for you, in a way that it can disadvantage you to follow your own ethical behaviour. But to me, I guess the ethics of something is something like, a code of behaviour you try and live by, and something that you use to help measure your decisions in any given situation. G'day, Matt. And you got to apply that, and realistically, I guess I wonder about how spongy some people's ethics are these days, where it turns into being hypocritical, and then you go, well, that's just being hypocritical. But I said, well, are they going against their very own principles, or they're espousing? If so, that's unethical behaviour. And I don't know, it seems kind of me like, why are you cheating on yourself? Why are you disadvantaging yourself? You've put those principles to guide you in there because you want to be a better person. So why are you cheating yourself out of being that better person? I mean, ultimately the person you're going to hurt is yourself. You're going to disadvantage yourself, but also you could be hurting a lot of other people along the way, unnecessarily so, because of that. So that's a bit of a serious note this morning. It's still a little overcast. Look at this. That's the Tower of Power up there. It's starting to get a little cooler, so I'm obviously wearing a jacket over my gear. So anyway, so that's my thought on ethics and BDSM, is that just because it's kink doesn't mean you got to throw all your ethics away. Doesn't mean you can get spongy on your ethics. I mean, really, you got to stand by your ground. If anything, more so because it's kink, because you will, when you get into it, and I tell this to a lot of new people, is that when you first get into it, it's like someone put a new thing on your playground. It's like, oh my god, it's awesome. Just remember to take your time. It's not a competition. And look to your ethics for guidance, or if you're not quite sure on what your principles are, have a chat to people. Everyone's got their own different principles, and you can relate to that. And principles can reform and redefine, but don't make them completely spongy. Have a bit of strength of character about you. That's what I aspire to. That's what I strive for. You know, being something more me, more stronger me. But anyway, rambling. Love you guys, and morning, Matt.